My life, once filled with the gentle melodies of my cello, shattered in an instant. One moment, I was playing in my quiet bedroom. The next, my abusive stepfather, a bottle in hand, was attempting to force himself on me. I resisted, pushing him away with both legs. He stumbled, hit a flower vase with his neck, and bled heavily until he died on the floor right before my eyes. I was in shock, but soon the police arrived, and I was taken into custody. Despite pleading innocent, the judge sentenced me to a juvenile correctional facility for 4 to 9 years. That bus ride to prison felt like a descent into hell, greeted by the unsettling, cheerful sounds of inmates. They made us change into uniforms, stripping away the last vestiges of my old life. Warden Frank introduced himself, laying down the harsh rules. In my cell, I met Jai, my quiet cellmate who had already been there for 5 years. That first night, I fell asleep, but I remember Jai watching me in silence, making noises that made me stir. She pretended to be asleep, and I tried to rest. Outside, I felt uneasy, preferring to stay alone. But a girl named Cody approached me, insisting I needed a group for protection in this brutal environment. I declined, foolishly thinking I could manage alone. Later, during mealtime, Cody and her gang warned me about another inmate, but I ignored her again. That's when Cody pushed me, making me drop my meal, and they all laughed. That evening, as I cleaned the floor, Cody and her friends cornered me in a dark room. They accused me of disrespect, then proceeded to beat me. Cody, their leader, intimidated me, threatening me if I reported them, and then humiliated me further with a kiss. Shaken and injured, I went to the infirmary. I was too afraid of the repercussions to name my attackers. The nurse suggested I speak to Warden Frank, hoping he would offer protection. But he only exploited my vulnerability, making his own advances. Distressed, I rejected him and returned to my cell in tears. Jai noticed, asking if Frank had touched me. Frustrated, I lashed out, calling everyone a pervert. Jai, though, tried to console me. She explained the grim reality of the facility and complimented my beauty. Eventually, we found a strange comfort in each other, making out despite my initial hesitation. The next day, a black inmate threw a ball at my head, trying to intimidate me. A surge of anger fueled me then. I rushed to Cody, demanding to join her gang. A fight broke out, quickly broken up by a guard, but it proved my determination. Cody gave me a chance. To earn respect and protection, she said, I had to prove myself. She invited me to a secluded room, offered me a drink, and told me I had to fight the black girl while they recorded it. Reluctantly, I agreed. I hit the girl, and an intense fight erupted until guards intervened. My punishment was severe, stripped naked and thrown into solitary confinement for 47 hours in a small, dark room. When I was released, Frank summoned me to his office. He reveled in his power, reminding me he watched my every move. He warned me that if I didn't comply, the punishments would worsen. Overwhelmed by fear, I succumbed. He took advantage of me, and afterward, I felt utterly disgusted, trying to wash away the shame, throwing up. The next day, I officially joined Cody's gang. A member tattooed my arm as initiation. Once alone, Cody coerced me again, promising protection in exchange. A gang member almost caught us, but Cody quickly dismissed her before a guard escorted me back to my cell. Then came my mother's visit. Instead of comfort, she shouted, accusing me of intentionally killing my stepfather. My explanations fell on deaf ears. Her anger intensified. She hit me even after a guard intervened, wishing I'd stay in prison for life. After that devastating encounter, I found myself back with Cody's gang, but the black girl from earlier came after me with a knife. Another fight broke out, a chaotic brawl that guards eventually broke up. Again, I was sent to Frank's office. He'd watched on surveillance, accusing me of instigating the fight. Then he gave me a drug-filled tube, leaving me disoriented. High, I was vulnerable once more, and he took advantage of me. Back in my cell, My behavior shifted drastically. I lashed out at Jai, even hitting her in anger. A guard reported me to Frank, who capitalized on my situation. He reprimanded me for causing trouble. Desperate, I begged him to send me home, but he threatened a worse facility if I didn't obey. Accepting my grim fate, I returned to my cell, becoming dependent on the drugs. I sought more from Cody, but she refused, leading to an argument, and she forced me to leave. Lost and without Cody's protection, I tried to reconnect with Jai, but she distanced herself. Desperate to escape my misery, I offered money to 2 addict girls for drugs. They were reluctant, but eventually agreed, and I continued to use drugs to numb the pain. Cody found out and confronted me in my cell, expressing concern, but I was defiant, telling her I was independent now. Another argument, and I spat at her. Cody expelled me from the gang. Without any protection, I became an easy target. The black girl and her group ambushed me in the bathroom, beating me severely and leaving me to cry. Back in the infirmary, I fell deeper into addiction, repeatedly using drugs with other inmates. My dependence worsened. I started hallucinating, seeing distorted faces. I tattooed the word dead onto my arm. Eventually, I became sick, vomiting in my cell. Jai suggested a drug counselor, but I mockingly dismissed the idea, offending her again. As my addiction consumed me, I confronted the girl who'd attacked me in the bathroom. The fight spiraled out of control, injuring even the guards. Special forces intervened, and I was back in solitary confinement. When I was released, Cody visited, ridiculing Jai in my presence. I finally stood up for myself, telling Cody we were neither friends nor enemies and to leave me alone. That night, Jai stayed with me, comforting me, and we had fun again. The next day, Jai tried to dissuade me from drugs, but I refused to listen, going to join the girls. Just as I was about to use, Cody arrived, pleading with me to stop. This agitated me, and I yelled in frustration, causing a commotion. The argument escalated, and special forces were called. Frank arrived, trying to defuse the situation as I threatened to harm myself with a broken bottle. I refused to release it, and when a guard tried to take it, Frank got scratched. Overpowered, I was subdued and sent to solitary confinement again, stripped of my clothing. This extended period in darkness left me disillusioned. In desperation, I broke my food tray and cut myself with the pieces. A guard found me bleeding and called for help. I woke up in the care of Dr. Han, a doctor in the psych ward. She told me she was there to help, and I confided in her. I told her I didn't want to die, but I just longed to escape the isolation and pain. Afterward, in the general ward, a nurse comforted me. Feeling better, I requested to speak with my mother. To my surprise, she apologized for her past actions and promised to help me reclaim my college scholarship. I learned that losing her house had made her realize her mistakes. As hope flickered, Frank called me back to his office. He insisted I was well enough to return to my cell, dismissing my concerns. Back in the cell, I felt a strong need to change. I removed the gang tattoo from my arm. Jay, noticing my distress, expressed her support. During lunch, Cody and her gang mocked my loneliness. That night, a guard escorted me to a small room where Frank was waiting, with my cello. He offered me a chance to play in a prison talent show. Though reluctant, I agreed. Playing the cello brought a brief moment of comfort, engrossing me in its sounds. But the next day, things took a sinister turn. I received a note. "You are dead." Before I could understand, Cody and her gang ambushed me. Furious about the removed tattoo, Cody cut my face with a blade and ordered her gang to beat me. In the infirmary, Frank visited, promising to punish Cody. The nurse realized his touches were inappropriate, but kept her composure. After Frank left, she bravely told me she would report his misconduct. But Frank, spying on our conversation, ordered an inmate to take out the nurse. When I was told what happened, I was devastated. breaking down in tears. Summoned to Frank's office again, he told me Cody was responsible for the nurse's death. He warned me of the danger I faced with Cody and reminded me of the talent show. At the show, I played my cello beautifully, earning applause. Afterward, Frank, as a show of appreciation, scheduled a parole hearing for me next month. I was surprised, but then he used the promise of freedom to demand I really give myself to him, taking advantage of me on the stage. Back in my cell, I told Jai about the parole hearing. She warned me to be cautious, not to trust Frank, claiming he enjoyed dashing people's hopes. Determined to hold him to his word, I approached Cody for help in taking Frank down. Cody agreed, giving me a camera to secretly record Frank's misconduct. On the day of the parole hearing, I reminded Frank of our deal. He demanded one last favor, unaware that I was recording every moment. Afterward, I met the authorities who questioned my behavior and readiness for parole. I told them I was fully rehabilitated. Frank, predictably, disagreed. That's when I presented the video evidence, exposing his heinous acts. The authorities were shocked and took swift action. Frank was arrested. After he was taken away, I was finally granted parole. The officials apologized for my ordeal and ensured my release. Before leaving, I said a heartfelt goodbye to Jai. As I exited the building, I passed Cody, thanking her for her help. A guard escorted me outside, where my mother greeted me with open arms. In the closing scene of this chapter of my life, I am performing on my cello, a large audience watching in awe. My music fills the room. Among them, my mother sits, listening, moved to tears. She is witnessing her daughter's resilience and triumph over darkness. I survived. I endured. I played on.